What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We are catching you guys up with the New Japan Cup going on over in the land of the rising sun. And I will say, it's been a lot of stuff. I got some notes here from some of the major highlights, but I do stress that you guys should check out some of these shows, especially if you have New Japan World. If you don't have New Japan World, I do think it is worth getting for the $9 that it costs to get New Japan World to see some of this stuff. And I will say this right off the bat, last night's show, which was headlined by a crazy match between Minoru Suzuki and Hiroshi Tanahashi. That was insane. A lot of other crazy stuff going on, but last night's show was probably the closest to pre-pandemic New Japan that we have seen in a lot of different ways, and I'll get into that as we get along with the review. Before we do that, of course, I want to remind you guys, this is YouTube, so give a thumbs up, or in the case of this review, a big ass chop, because there's a lot of those, to that like button. Smack that son of a bitch across the chest. It helps the other people who like New Japan Pro Wrestling and are looking for New Japan news on YouTube find this channel, so I definitely appreciate it very much. But let's talk about where we are at now with the New Japan Cup. Before we get into the second round, where I left off near the end of the first round, we have to mention the crazy match at the end of the first round between Tomohiro Ishii and Shingo Takagi, which was strong style, brilliantly done. What you expect. It was brutal. It was hard hitting. It was a lot of close near falls. Shingo Takagi able to pull that one out in the end and advance on. I kind of wanted Ishii to win, but I get where they're trying to do here. It's kind of a little, it's not quite a reset to New Japan with New Japan right now, but there is a little bit of resetting going on, and I think more of reestablishing who the top stars are in the company with this tournament. Of the many second round matches, though, there were a couple big standouts. El Phantasmo versus Will Ospreay was one I definitely wanted to pay attention to and watch this past week. And while it wasn't probably as great as the matches that they've had before when they were both juniors, it was still a very good match. I was wondering, because we're at this point in the tournament, you're looking for upsets. And El Phantasmo, it seems like New Japan is finally starting to kind of want to push him up to heavyweight. He's not quite there yet, but he has been very prominent in a lot of stuff and making a name for himself. And I've been high on El Phantasmo for a while. I'm like, this guy is a future star. He just needs to tweak a couple things, and New Japan needs to put him in some good spots. And I think a lot of people are going to take to El Phantasmo, so definitely look for that. But Will Ospreay has been lights out in this tournament. Will Ospreay, the Gaijin ace right now over in New Japan, picking up the win over here against El Phantasmo and advancing on in the New Japan Cup. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Team 609, the junior tag team champions, got an upset win in a non-title match against the House of Torture, the never open weight tag team champion. So there might be a 6-man tag match down the road. Of course, that's given whether or not Tanahashi's still in the tournament come the final week of the tournament. Of course, Master Wato and Taguchi are already out of the tournament, having lost their matches earlier in the tournament. Another thing involving Tanahashi, though, was really kind of sad. He won one of his matches. He was going back to the dressing room, and there was a little kid who really wanted to reach out and touch him, and Tanahashi couldn't. And Tanahashi just started bawling because, again, here in the States, especially where I live at now, there aren't any more or there weren't really mandates. There were suggestions to even wear masks indoors. But over in Japan, they're still kind of in, this wear mask, social distance, don't touch each other kind of thing. It's nothing like it is here in the States where we got, CM Punk and, all in the crowd, and all the AEW guys are in the crowd, and the WWE guys are slapping hands with people. But over in New Japan, it's still don't touch the fans, don't touch the wrestlers, no handshaking with the wrestlers, no getting close to them or anything else. And it broke Tanahashi's heart. Dude was crying for a minute. Because it just, and I feel that, like, that's what Tanahashi is. He is been called the John Cena of New Japan, and much like Cena, he has this thing with the little kids, and then the little kids love him so much, and Tanahashi not being able to high five this kid really crushed him. And I felt that was kind of sad. Of course, we got all this Bullet Club stuff going on. Too sweet up, too sweet down. Who's on whose side? Nobody really knew through the first round of the tournament, but we were definitely going to find out because the Tongans were coming back. Guerrillas of Destiny came in as both of them having buys into the second round of the tournament. Tonga Loa taking on Shingo Takagi. He did make a good showing of himself in that match. He fell to Shingo, but the real thing came in, ironically enough, a match that was set up in the second round with Evil facing Tama Tonga. Now, while this match wasn't a great match, there was a lot of intrigue in the match, and a lot of this match was what happened afterwards. The crowd in Japan was way behind Tama Tonga. I was behind Tama Tonga. He damn near won. I thought he won this match like 2 or 3 times, and in particular, it looked like, because, you know, we all know how the setup usually goes with these things. It looked like Tama had done the sequence to win the match, and then the very last second, Dick Togo pulls the referee out of the ring. I thought the match was over. I was like, oh my God, yes, they're going to have Tama win. They got me on that one. And then all hell breaks loose. Now, Jado, remember, Jado joined Bullet Club when he left Chaos along with his longtime tag team partner, Gato. He's been back in the Guerrillas of Destiny. He was in Tama Tonga's corner in this match. He's pulled Dick Togo off of Tama Tonga. The match continued. Then you got Sho and Yujiro coming to the ring. They're trying to attack Tama Tonga, but then we get El Phantasmo and Ishimori coming to the ring. We're thinking they're coming to back up Tama Tonga. It looked pretty cool. They chase out all the other Bullet Club guys. Looks like they were going up. Ishimori, who Tama Tonga brought into New Japan and Bullet Club, lifting up Tama Tonga, patting him on the back, but then you saw in the corner El Phantasmo loading up that super kick that he doesn't want to use any other time, but he wanted to use it here, and super kick Tama Tonga, so they swerved him twice in this match. That laid him out. Evil winds up getting the win with Everything is Evil, and after that, then things really got crazy. All the Bullet Club guys start coming down one by one, and you start wondering who's on whose side. Chase Owens, he sides with Jay White's side. So now everybody's beating up on Tama Tonga. Jado comes in the ring. He's got the kendo stick. He starts laying waste to everybody. The crowd's going crazy. And then you get Bad Luck Fale coming down to the ring, and you're wondering if Fale's on whose side he's on, and Fale winds up turning on the Tongans too, which is crazy to me that Bad Luck Fale is on the opposite side of the Tongans in this one. Fale tries to hit the grenade. Tonga Loa finally shows up after his brother's been getting his butt kicked for a while. He immediately gets wiped out by Bad Luck Fale, and then everybody just starts beating up on the Tongans and Jado. Gato comes out clapping. They start continuing beating down, and then Gato of the Ultimate Betrayal. 30 years these guys have been tag team partners in New Japan. Gato balls up a fist and knocks out Jado with a chain. It just compounded and compounded upon the betrayal. Bullet Club, for the first time, like I've said this the other week, Bullet Club has been more interesting in the last couple weeks than it has been in the last 2 years. And this was just compounding and compounding of betrayal after betrayal, really setting up Bullet Club now as the most despicable faction. Like, even knowing that this is kayfabe and I'm a wrestling fan, but even at some point, me and Kevin Kelly was doing it on a commentary. We're just disgusted with all of them. Like, I didn't like any of them. I'm like, El Phantasmo, I'm really behind you, but you being part of this, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see Ishimori. I don't want to see Fale. All y'all, I echo the comments of Kevin Kelly, a middle finger to all of you. And don't think the Tongans are out of it. Although, I don't know where this leaves the Jado and Guerrillas of Destiny. It's not like they're going to join Chaos or LIJ or the United Empire or Suzuki-gun, I wouldn't think. But where are they going to go? What is going to happen with them? Are they leaving New Japan, or are they going to continue to be on in New Japan? Tama Tonga says they're still in New Japan for the foreseeable future. So where this is going to go, I can't imagine they flew all the way to Japan just to lose, both of them lose on the first night and not do anything else. So I expect that we're going to get some retribution before the New Japan Cup is over of the Guerrillas of Destiny. All those Benedict Arnolds in the Bullet Club got their comeuppance coming to them from the Guerrillas of Destiny, and I can't wait to see it. Naito faced off against Gato, speaking of Gato, in one of the earlier round matches in the tournament. This match was funny because he kept pulling on Gato's beard during the match. And of course, Naito won this match. But then later on, in one of the matches that happened this week, and one of the multi-man tag matches, it was all of the United Empire against Gato. I believe it was Bad Luck Fale, El Phantasmo, and I think it was Chase Owens or it was Ishimori, one of them. It was a combination of Bullet Club with Gato in it. And the United Empire was having a field day while pulling on Gato's beard, and then the guys would do moves off the top rope to just yank on his beard. Ospreay does a full arm drag and twist on Gato's beard. Like, so this beard thing with Gato is just taking over all of the locker room, and it's pretty funny, and the crowd was loving it, eating it up. So then, of course, Ishimori and El Phantasmo countered that by scratching the hell out of Will Ospreay over and over again, whose back was taped up because his match with El Phantasmo, he kind of tweaked his back a bit, which I'm not surprised at. I'm surprised both of them aren't like out injured right now with the amount of back shots they took in their match. But Ospreay was wearing the medical tape on his back. In the end, the United Empire got the win. The crowd was really into seeing Bad Luck Fale face off against Jeff Cobb, where they were just oohing and ahhing over all that stuff. And Cobb was pulling some feats of strength on Fale that are just really impressive. It's really something that you want to check out and see. I would say, I'm going to give you guys recommendations on what to watch, but I think most of these shows over the last couple nights have been really good shows. Sonata took on Aaron Henare. Henare has been able to make a name for himself in his tournament a little bit, coming up a little bit. He did fall to Sonata. Sonata is really getting established as the current U.S. champion, as a bigger star. His star is rising more and more the more matches he's having in his tournament, and he's got a command of his star presence. He's feeling now like he's a big star in New Japan, something that I haven't really felt from him in 6 years. They tried and started and stopped. I can say that. Started and stopped with Sonata. Got it. They've started and stopped with Sonata many times, but I think at this present time, when I see Sonata, his poise, the way he commands the crowd, the way the crowd is responding to him, he is now really a major. I would say he's upper mid-card right now. He's not quite full-on main event, but he's definitely an upper mid-card guy now, and I would not be surprised by the end of this year if Sonata is a major main event guy in New Japan. And let's talk about the crowds here. The crowd started to vocalize, especially, this is why I say last night's show is one that you definitely want to watch, depending on when you're watching this recording, but the crowd, who are still not supposed to vocalize, even though there have been reports that the Japanese government is going to lift some of the restrictions on capacity, and it hasn't said anything about crowds making noise yet, but this crowd, I think the Japanese are also done with COVID, because they were oohing and ahhing almost the whole night. And the New Japan gave them a lot of stuff to ooh and ah about. The Bullet Club thing, Fale and Jeff Cobb, some of the other matches. We have El Desperado and Show just beating each other up all over the building every single night. I mean, there was a lot of stuff for them to get into, but none so more than what happened in the main event on the last night's show, which was, again, Hiromu Takahashi against Murder Grandpa himself, the king, the crazy, crazy old man, Minoru Suzuki. Literally, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, 99% of the first 20 minutes of this match is them doing nothing but chopping the hell out of each other. They're just going, and you would think on paper that would sound boring, but the way they did it, it's always in the execution. The way they executed it, with Suzuki just getting delighted. The harder Hiromu would hit him, he'd get delighted. And then we know Hiromu's crazy, so he get excited. Even though he get knocked down, he'd come back up and fire up. And they were just doing this. And they had some other spots here and there, but most of it was them just going back and forth and chopping each other. Suzuki's chest was bleeding early on, like 5 minutes into this. Suzuki's got blood on his chest. He's all bruised up. Hiromu's chest is all bruised up. Hiromu slaps Suzuki, who then starts laughing. So then Hiromu starts laughing. And then these two insane people, like, you have to see this. Because if you want to see two crazy people get in a fight, you have to watch Hiromu Takahashi versus Minoru Suzuki, because this was just crazy. And again, like I said, most of this match was them just chopping the shit out of each other over and over and over again. Finally, to steal a Kevin Kelly phrase, a wrestling match broke out like 20 minutes into this. They started wrestling after all of this, all of a sudden. And then that's what was the downfall, though, because surprises, the first real thing I would consider an upset in this tournament, Hiromu Takahashi pins Minoru Suzuki with a wrestling hold. And I was shocked at that conclusion because I thought Minoru would win. Suzuki, of course, was shocked him too, and he's mad. Of course, that means some young lions are going to get beat up. He dragged one young lion all the way back up to the entrance ramp just to hold him up there to knock him off the stage, and then went back Minoru Suzuki is awesome. And Hiromu gets up after the match. He's like exhausted. He's like done. He's like, I can't do this. And by the way, I don't want to tell Kevin Kelly how to do his job, but it might be helpful because I do this because I'm not fluent in Japanese. But when they give the speeches afterwards, turn on Google Translate, because Google Translate is very good now and it will give you a rough translation of what the guys are saying. So when Chris Charlton's not there, and for you fans at home who watch these things and you don't know what the guys are saying in Japanese at the end of the shows, just turn on Google Translate and it will translate it for you. Hiromu talked about that he's going to have more fun in this tournament. It was the heavyweights versus the juniors. Of course, Hiromu's a big advocate for the juniors being, I would say he's not currently the ace of the junior division, but he's the biggest star in the junior division. And he's been on that for a while now. And he was happy to get a win over a heavyweight as a junior. And we're going to have more fun in the tournament as he will now go on to take on former LIJ friend and member Evil in the House of Torture, which is a rematch from their New Japan Cup match 2 years ago when they faced each other right when Evil, or when Evil had turned and then Evil had defended the title against the double championships against Hiromu, and was a pretty cool match for that pandemic era. So I gotta say, across the board, it's the most excited I've been about a New Japan show really since Wrestle Kingdom, and even a little bit more than Wrestle Kingdom. But this was, like I said at the beginning, this felt a lot more like the New Japan we watched 2 years ago than anything that they've done in the last 2 years during the pandemic. And they've had some shows where it's been close, but this is the most, with the vocalization of the crowd, with really good booking, with really smart matchmaking, a little bit of comedy. Yano is not on his tour right now. He lost in the first round, so he hasn't been around that much. But a lot of the comedy's been coming from some of the other guys. And then you get hard wrestling. Doki and Zack Sabre Jr., that's another match to make mention of. You guys probably want to check that one out. It's one of Doki's best performances, even with the Doki Choki, Kevin. But all up and down, I have to say the 4 shows I watched this week from the New Japan Cup were all enjoyable. We're heading into the 3rd round as of tonight, tomorrow morning, depending on where you are in the world. And the 3rd round will be going on for the next week or so, and then we'll be getting into the quarters and the semis, and of course the finals at the end of the month. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. This has been my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's NJPW's New Japan Cup 2022, the 2nd round. Been a lot of fun. Check it out if you get a chance. And again, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time as we continue our coverage of New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Japan Cup 2022 right here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.